Well, the sprint's over. And this is gonna sound crazy, crazy talk. So the software was released April 1st. I spent 10 days off in the Philippines, relaxing. I came back. I set up a bunch of AI tools when I got back, and within 4 days, we have another software release that's actually better than the first software release. It's just uploading to the cloud right now behind me on our servers. Wow. So in 4 days, we've come up with another release which actually has a lot more stability in it. It's not really an MVP anymore. It's definitely a fully grown, nice to have product. And all these updates were done with AI. I just have to say, wow. And it's just really, it's this has now driven our business model. And this is the future. This really is. So what we're going to see in the future is we can see as small businesses like my business are going to have the capability and they're going to have the power to take on the big guys. And the huge advantages with this is that we can do that with much, much, much higher profit margins, and we can sell our software for much, much, much lower prices. Just think about this for a second. If you have 10,000 developers working on a product, you have to pay those 10,000 developers. Even if you have 100 developers working on a project, you still have to pay 100 developers. Right. Simple as that. But if we can just hire 5 or 6 software architects, that's it, and have all the heavy coding done by AI and the software architects just glue the pieces together, our profit margins are going to be off the scale. And we can sell software for a price that it's just going to be a no brainer. And the big guys aren't going to compete with that, period. That is how AI is going to completely disrupt this industry. Now, the small guys, the small businesses, the businesses that have 5, 6 employees, can seriously and legitimately take on the large software businesses, and they can win, and they can write better software, and we're going to win, and we're going to write better software, and we're going to continue to improve Webdesk, and we're going to continue to make it, build new features into it, and make it better and better every day. And there is no reason at this point why we cannot have a weekly incremental release. Now, 6 months ago, even a month ago, if you had told me we'd have an incremental weekly release of Webdesk, I'd be like, no way, you guys are on. You guys are on something. I don't know what you guys are doing, but you know what? It's not gonna. I can never do that. Now we just have these AI agents that are doing things for us. They're reviewing the code. They're updating the code. They're helping update the code. We pay about $40 a month for these things, and they're doing the work of, I don't know. I can't even count how many developers these AI agents are doing the work for. Probably the work of 10 developers, maybe. I don't know. Wow. This industry is now going to be turned on its head completely because I'm not the only person doing this. I'm sure I'm not the only person doing this. There's people who are doing this in all different kinds of industries, in all different kinds of ways, using AI to write awesome, kick ass software, which is what it is. And like I say, we can sell it so much cheaper. There's an example I looked up online. Ubuntu, and we all know who Ubuntu is. Ubuntu writes Ubuntu Linux. They have an 80% profit margin. I was thinking, well, how does Ubuntu? Ubuntu's free software, right? It's free. How do they have an 80% profit margin? They're never going to go out of business with an 80% profit margin. How does it even happen? We're giving away free software. because their production costs are just minimalistic. Everything is written for them, and their engineers just, because open source software, their engineers just glue it all together and sell services and sell the updates through Ubuntu Pro and stuff. So if you think about that model, it's the same model as AI, really. AI is writing the software for minimal cost, and then we have some software architects. Then they're going to glue the software together, approve the release, do some basic testing, push it up to the cloud for download. Wow. Now, everything's changed. Like I said, a small company now can take in the big guys, and they don't necessarily have to grow at all, period. The business doesn't have to grow. The business doesn't have to hire hundreds of thousands of developers. It doesn't have to have a huge skyscraper somewhere with a bunch of guys in it. It doesn't have to need any of that stuff. My business is going to be 100% remote. I'm saying that right now. It's going to be 100% remote, and most of our employees are going to be AI bots, AI agents writing code. Simple as that. Because you keep profits so high through doing that. An AI bot does not need health insurance, it doesn't need a benefits package, it doesn't need payroll, it doesn't need any of that stuff. It just does its stuff. Okay, yeah, it makes mistakes. I've had a few mistakes today with one. That's fine. That's why we have, software architects like myself who keep the AI bots and guardrails and say, okay, you do this, come back to me with the results, and I'll look into it. And we had one today messing a few things up, and I went to GitHub and reverted it back, and we're fine, and mistakes are going to happen like that. But it's completely shifted the business, shall we say? I have to say, and we're going to be successful, and we're going to be successful. I'm 100% sure of that, through a business which is 100% remote, no big buildings anywhere, and it is like 99% run through AI. Wow. Isn't that just coding? Traditional coding is dead. Heads down coding, sitting there for hours at the keyboard, that's dead and gone. Tell AI to do something. Tell a few AI agents do things and come back and check your repo in a few hours, and guess what? The stuff's there. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the human aspect. The human aspect, you always have the human in the loop. The human aspect is to make sure the AI bots don't make mistakes. But by doing this, we can build an amazing company with amazing profit margins. And through that process, we can give more back to the community. We've got an amazing business idea here. This is phenomenal. Okay, running a successful company on a very small number of employees, that is a sweet spot. That is the multi-million-dollar spot. That is an amazing place to be in, where you don't need thousands and thousands of employees. At the same time, what are we going to do with all that? We're going to give back to the communities we serve, and we're going to still show respect for people, but we're not going to need thousands and thousands of people in jobs to produce a product when we can produce it with 6 or 8 people. But with that, all the extra capital, guess what? We can give back to the communities we serve through charitable donations. So, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and we're living in an amazing time. And we'll see where this goes. But I think my goal for the next 8 weeks or whatever it is to actually bring in our first customer. That's my number one goal. So bringing our first customer. I think once we have our first customer, it'll be interesting experience, and then we'll grow from there. It's scary getting your first customer. It really is. So we haven't got a first customer yet. We have the product out there and no first customer, but we'll see. We'll see how things go, and we'll see what I'm saying in a year's time and talking about all this.